My father was in a group called the Southlanders, and they had a quite formidable success with a song called I Am a Mole and I Live in a Hole. But my father died when I was very young, and I didn't come into the business till I was 22, so he didn't have any direct influence on me starting out in show business.
So why did you choose show business then? What was the sort of incentive for you?
I couldn't do anything else, really. That's always an incentive. I'd had lots of different jobs and never really considered any of them as a vocation. And I remember thinking when I was 20, I don't want to be doing this when I'm 40. And now I'm in my 40s. I'm pleased I'm not doing those jobs that I started out doing, because when you find your vocation, you just feel so much more comfortable and at one.
You get pigeonholed on television, don't you? You're obviously a very funny comedian and a very good impressionist, and perhaps you got pigeonholed for a while, did you?
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think everybody has to have some sort of title or something they can refer to you as. It's like saying Sir Laurence Olivier was pigeonholed as an actor. That's just what we do, and it's true to say I had the majority of my success on television doing comedy, but I've always sung. I was looking through a list of my video of stuff that I've recorded that I've done on television, and I was amazed at the number of times I've sung on television before I went anywhere near Showstoppers. There must have been about 40 or 50 songs that I'd sung on television. Well, I'd done a lot more comedy on television, so everyone can be forgiven for not thinking of me as anything other than a comedian, I suppose.
And what sort of things did you want to do? And when you first started, did you have any influences? Did you go and see shows as a child and think, I want to do that when I get older?
I can only ever remember going to see my father once, and I can't remember too much about that show. I can't really remember my dad. I remember there was some sort of, I don't know, there was speciality act, I suppose you'd call them, kind of a magician, the paper tearer. And whoever he was, he made this huge ladder out of newspapers, the kind of thing. But the thing that we took great delight in was the fact that he laid it across the laps of everybody in the front row. And that's the only memory I have of going to the theatre. So no, it was television. I mean, when I came into television, I was very ignorant, and I thought entertainment was on television, and that was it. Even though I was born just a couple of miles away from the West End, that the River Thames is a great divide, and so I thought you had to get into television, and you were there. But of course, that's not the case at all. I'd never ever called myself an impressionist. It's always a label that other people had given me, because I was never as good as people like Phil Cool and Rory Bremner and Bobby Davro and Alan Stewart. I could never do all those impressions. I could do about half a dozen, and that was it. You
know where I'm leading you, don't you?
Norman Wisdom?
Well, yes, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, all right, then have a little go. Hey. I have to pull my jacket off my shoulders as well when I do that, even on radio.
It's on the radio, isn't it? And obviously moving into theatre was not necessarily a big step for you, but perhaps for your audience, and many people would have had the opportunity to go and see you in some of the amazing West End shows. Me and My Girl actually started here in Leicester. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yes, it did, at the Haymarket Theatre, yeah.
And you followed in some famous footsteps in that particular role.
I've been lots of people in that show. I mean, Frank Thornton was the original. The headlines over the first one, when it was in Leicester, and indeed when it came to London, were starring Robert Lindsay and Frank Thornton.
Because nobody knew Emma Thompson.
Nobody knew her, no, not really, and it just had Emma Thompson as Sally Smith on the poster. Since then, there have been loads of people. Bernard Bresslaw has been, and Alfred Marks has been in the show. Patrick Cargill, they all played Sir John. As far as Bill Snibson's concerned, there was if you've just been watching Band of Gold, that rather sinister policeman. He was the guy I took over from David Schofield, and of course there was Carl Howman.
And Brian Conley as well.
Brian Conley, of course, Les Dennis and we should get a little society together, all us Bill
Absolutely.
Snibsons.
Well, everybody that we've spoken to, obviously we followed the progress of the show, being a local show originally. Everybody we've spoken to, including Brian Conley, have said what a great show it is to be involved with. Great fun to do as well as to watch.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of fun in that show, and it may look as if we're ad-libbing our heads off up there, but it's a very well-crafted show by Mike Ockrent and indeed Gillian Gregory, who did the original choreography. It's a very, very tight show, and it's sad it's not on the road now, actually.
Now, the thing with Me and My Girl was that it was a definite change of direction for you in career terms. Was it something that you were conscious of doing to actually perhaps shake off the television comedian role that you had?
I don't think I was that conscious of image. I mean, what I did want to do was learn more. I felt very restricted in television then. It was either going to be quiz shows or nothing at all, and game shows, you know. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to learn more about acting, more about being with people and how people thought. So I decided to make that change. It was quite a big change. I mean, I was on reasonably good money when I was doing that, but you become an actor, and any actor will tell you that just goes right out the window. When you start doing the jobs because they're the right job to do, then I'm afraid money's the last consideration. And it always has been, actually, for me.
What's your favourite musical?
Me and My Girl. I mean, but my favourite... But that goes without saying. It was my first, and extremely successful for me personally. Was Me and My Girl. But my favourite film one is, well, it changes a lot actually. Music tends to do that, doesn't it? Your top 10 always changes around a bit. But I think it's probably Mary Poppins.
As always, if you enjoyed this interview, please click on the like button, ring that notification bell so that you don't miss out in the future, and if you possibly can, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.